keeping it from me? You do not have to pretend any longer, Pen.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Karrokick, and back here snoring, you've got Theo and Champ. Alright, so I have a few disclaimers before we get into the meat of this video. Disclaimer 1, I've not read the Bridgerton book series. This entire premise for my video is based solely on the Netflix adaptation. Disclaimer 2, I have nothing against Nicola Collin. In fact, she is an actress whose career I truly admire. I've been following her since she captured my heart in Dairy Girls, and she's actually one of the reasons I even chose to watch Bridgerton at all. She's very vocal about Palestine and the ongoing genocide and crisis in Gaza and Rafah, and I truly love and respect her as an actress. I think she could not have been better cast. She brings such depth to this character. She makes the character have so much personality, so much humanity. I truly love the work that she's done in Bridgerton, and I can't wait to just continue watching her on screen and her career flourish. Disclaimer 3, there will be spoilers. Spoilers. So, like River Song said, if you want to avoid the spoilers, you're going to need to pause the video, go watch Bridgerton, and then come back, okay? So, if you don't mind a few spoilers, or if you really just want a quick recap to get you caught back up in time for Season 3, then stick around, and I can't wait to have a discussion with you guys in the comments. With that out of the way, dear viewer, let's get into it. Bridgerton Season 3 is coming out in just a few short days, on the 16th to be precise. And I think the Bridgerton fever has gone a little crazy. There's Bridgerton Teas, Bridgerton Ruggables, and Her Universe even started a Bridgerton book club, and they've been reading the books sequentially since last month, all the way up until the season releases. This season, as you might know, is going to be around Penelope Featherington and her love interest, Colin Bridgerton, or as some of you might call them, Colin. Now, through my initial first watch of Bridgerton Season 1 and 2, I really found myself struggling with the desire to root for Penelope and Colin as a friends to lovers relationship, / my growing disdain and dislike of this character. I found her to be cunning, manipulative, scheming, much like her mother, which I do not think she would like to hear. But she's not my favorite character. With all of the commentary and feedback online, and her being so well loved by everyone, and having so many stan accounts and so many fan accounts, I was like, you know what, Cuddle? Maybe you missed something. Maybe there's something to the Penelope character that you just didn't see with your first watch, and you owe it to her to try again. So I wanted to do another watch of Season 1 and another watch of Season 2 where I solely focused on Penelope's arc and growth as a character and her relationship and growth with Colin as well. Was there something I had missed? Or, and please hear me out, is Penelope Featherington an anti-hero? What is an anti-hero? According to the Oxford Dictionary, an anti-hero is a central character or story in a movie or drama that lacks conventional heroic attributes. They're basically a morally gray protagonist. Some of them, they kind of mean well with what they're doing, but the way they go about getting what they want isn't always the good, moral, or just way of getting things done. A few famous literary and cinema anti-heroes would be Hamlet, Severus Snape, Dexter, Walter White, and even Han Solo. Though these characters are all very different from each other, they share the fact that we all kind of root for them in the end. We want to see them succeed, or want to see them get to their hopes and dreams. Hamlet, for example, was trying to avenge his father's death, and Dexter was a serial killer who only killed serial killers. Well, at the beginning, but this isn't about him, so let's not digress. Now, who is Penelope Featherington? Well, Penelope Featherington is the youngest of 3 sisters in the Featherington family. She has Prudence, her older sister, Philippa, the middle sister, and then we've got Pen. They are all being led by their mother, Lady Featherington, and as the show starts, Pen is barely 16 years old. She's a bebe, okay? So she's allowed to make mistakes. She's being presented into society a whole season earlier than what she hoped. Her and her bestie, Eloise, were hoping to both be presented at the same time, and Eloise was not going to be presented until Season 2, or the second season of The Marriage Market. There's a few times in Season 1 that Pen tries to kind of get out of it. She brings it up to her mom a lot, especially in the first episode. But Lady Featherington has a plan and she has a goal, and her goal is to get her daughters married and settled. And they are all coming out in society at the same time. This could be for a few reasons, whether it's to solidify her daughter's standing or, also solidify her own standing. I think Lady Featherington, and we'll get into it a little bit when we talk about their family, she's got a goal. We do meet Lord Featherington in season 1. He's not a very important character, but we'll get into the family dynamics in a little bit. So let's put a pin in that. Pen's character goes through a lot of growth in season 1 and 2. When the show starts, Pen is only 16 years old. She kind of gets bullied a lot by her family. Her sisters are not very nice to her. Everyone's always making comments about her weight, about her appearance. But the fact that she reads all the time. Why are you reading all the time? Your studies are not that important. You need to get married, Pen. Focus. Her best friend is Eloise, and she's also very close with Colin, obviously because of her relationship with Eloise. I also think that the Bridgerton family has kind of really accepted Pen into the family. There's multiple times in the series where you'll see Colin or Lady Bridgerton or Eloise. They defend the family. They talk about, Eloise, why don't you go see Pen? Why don't you go promenade? How's Pen doing? So the families are very close. We don't learn how they got to know each other or how they became close, but we do know that the girls are very close. Even Colin, regardless of the things that happen in season 1 and season 2 with Pen's family, he holds them to high esteem. So Eloise is, she's more of a girl boss. She does not want to get married. Boys, ew, gross. She hates all of the societal pressure on women. She hates that she doesn't have an other option other than to get married. She's the show's feminist, token feminist. Whereas Pen does want to get married. Pen does want that happy ending. I think Pen's character motivation is that she's looking for the family that she doesn't really have. She doesn't feel that she fits in with her family, she doesn't feel loved, and she doesn't really feel safe to be herself and be who she is in her family. And she does see that in the Bridgerton family, and she sees their closeness and how much they all love each other and are there for each other, and she kind of wants that. So I think it explains why she's so close with Eloise and why she does eventually end up having feelings for Colin and wanting to marry Colin. It's kind of her escape from the family that she was born into. We don't know much about Lady and Lord Featherington or how they met. We do know that based on their behavior and the way that the Ton views them, they're more of a new money family. The Bridgertons are more of an old money family, and as we know, thanks to classism and things like that, old money's carries a lot more respect than new money. Lord Featherington is rather hedonistic. He's not good at keeping his money in his pocket. If you give the man $1, he spends $5. He drinks a lot, he gambles on boxing, he's gambling at the horse races. He's really not paying attention to what Lady Featherington is doing. There's not a lot of communication between the two of them. He's always reading the paper. He seems like he kind to his kid, cares about them, sort of. We only really get the one scene where he takes the girls to a party instead of Lady Featherington, but he never stands up for them. He's really not a good father figure. I'm not saying he's a bad man, but he's not the kind of man you want to be stuck raising a family with, unfortunately. And he ends up losing all the family's money. Lady Featherington, she's more cunning. She schemes a lot. She's manipulative. She will do whatever it takes to take care of her charges. We see this even with Marina, who comes in a little later in season 1, who she doesn't want her there. She doesn't want to deal with her pregnancy. She doesn't want to deal with finding her a suitor, but she knows that if she wants to get her daughters in a good standing and in a good marriage, she needs to make sure that Marina also gets one. The way she goes about it is a little iffy and ugly, and not great for Marina. This is about Pen. So, what do we know about Prudence? Prudence is Pen's older sister. She's not nice to Pen. She bullies her a lot. She's definitely their mom's little mini-me, and she'll do anything her mother says. She's a little flighty. She's a bit of an airhead, and she's just kind of lost in the sauce. Only cares about herself and her own goals. Philippa, as the middle sister, she's not nice to Pen, but she's not mean to Pen. The scenes where she does kind of tease Pen and make fun of her and bully her are usually led by Prudence. Philippa doesn't really start things, but she's definitely willing to keep them going. Philippa ends up getting married to Finch, and they do have a funny little cheese scene where they're just talking about cheese, and what more can you want other than to find your food-loving partner, right? They've got stuff in common. She's very silly. She's excited to be out in the market and looking for love, but she's not much of a schemer. She's definitely not a leader, more of a follower. So again, as I mentioned earlier, the Featheringtons are more of a new money family, and this affects their standing in society. They don't get invited to parties very often. The Ton is very quick to believe rumors about them and distance themselves from them, and they're not given a lot of respect. I think that because of this, Lady Featherington, her obsession, her goal to get her daughters married, I think she knows that if she wants to be respected, if she wants good standing, if she wants to be a family that's treated the way the Bridgertons are treated, she's going to get that by getting her daughters married. Though this show is not entirely historically accurate, it is technically a period piece, and they do follow some of the rules of society back then, which would be that the girls cannot inherit their father's home, money, etc. Their husbands would. So it's very important they marry into a family that will not just take care of them, but also take care of Lady Featherington and her future and standing in society. Back to Pen. Pen's main arc in season 1 really revolves around Marina Thompson. She is the daughter of a friend of her father, who comes to them from the countryside and is their charge for the season. As it turns out, we find out later that Lord Featherington owes a lot of money to Marina's dad, and so as a favor to him, he is going to help Marina in coming out to society, in keeping her for the season, and helping her find a husband. So this ends up, of course, becoming Lady Featherington's responsibility, which we then get the big bad news of Marina's pregnancy. Prior to Marina's pregnancy being revealed, Marina and Pen get very close. They start to form a bond. And Marina truly loves Pen. She is happy to be with Pen. So when the pregnancy is revealed, Lady Featherington is kind of trying to keep the girls apart. She's worried that, it might be catching, and she's worried that if this gets out, it could ruin the entire family's reputation, especially since Marina is their charge for the season. And her being unwed and pregnant would be a very, very big scandal, and it could ruin all of them just by association. Through all this, Lady F's main goal is to get Marina married as soon as possible, and Marina's not playing along. Marina wants her man, she loves her man, she's gonna come for her, she knows he's waiting for her. Her man is a soldier out in Spain right now fighting some war, and she knows he's coming back. She knows he's gonna do right by her. So to kind of motivate her, Lady Featherington writes a fake love letter, breakup letter from Marina's partner. And this triggers a spiral of Marina, 1, her heart is broken, and 2, now she's also desperate to find a husband who's going to take care of her before her pregnancy starts showing. And it leads to the crux of what will then eventually be the downfall of Marina and Pen's relationship, which is Marina has eyes on Colin. I do enjoy the Colin and Marina arc. I think Colin and Marina do have true feelings for each other. I know a lot of people found what Marina was doing wrong, but as she mentions in the show, and she mentions multiple times later on, she needed to do what she needed to do to take care of her children. And Lady Featherington was bringing her these old, ugly, gross, disgusting men who really just viewed her as almost like a horse, chattel, if you will. And so, though I don't agree with her means of getting a husband, I understand why she would go for someone like Colin. And at the beginning, prior to all of this, Marina was getting a lot of suitors. Now, all of this changes when Daphne is announced as the diamond of the season, and the Duke starts courting Daphne. Marina starts getting less suitors. But the truth is, Marina had a lot of options at the beginning of the season. And I don't think it was really fair to her for Lady Featherington to only insist on pushing upon these gross, disgusting men. I understand her motives, but it wasn't right. And I do think that when Marina chooses Colin, she chooses him for the right reasons. She thinks that his relationship with his siblings proves that he'll be a good father, proves that he'll be a good husband to her. She feels he's kind and cares about her. Now, obviously, this is not good for Pen. Pen wants Colin. So Pen tries to convince Marina to pick someone else. Marina is not having it. She likes Colin. Why would she pick someone else? And she's running out of time. Pen's plan B is to talk to Colin and convince him to not marry Marina, but she really never gets it off her chest. She never truly tells him what's going on and why she doesn't want him with Marina. So that doesn't work out either. So what does Pen do? And as you all know, Pen is Lady Whistledown, and if you didn't, you know now. She writes an article exposing Marina's pregnancy. Once the article comes out, her entire family is in distress. Their reputation is in shambles. They have an unwed pregnant girl. They've been trying to pawn her off on other men. Everyone can tell what they've been doing. Colin and Marina were going to get married. Now the wedding's been called off, of course, because the Bridgerton family is not going to allow Colin to make this mistake. And things are truly getting heated. Colin does at one point tell Marina that he wishes she had told him, he wishes she'd been honest with him because he would have married her anyway. And I do think that this speaks volumes of how he truly felt about her and that he really is a good man and he really would have done what was right. He liked this girl. He wouldn't have cared that she was pregnant. What hurt him the most was her lack of confidence in him. And I think that this is kind of a red flag for Pen. I think that this kind of shows us that when Colin does find out she's Lady Whistledown, he's also going to be hurt. It's clearly important to him that he doesn't have secrets with the people that he's close to. He holds them in high esteem and high value, and he holds the relationship in high esteem and high value. So he wants to be that person that you can confide in and that person that you can talk to about what's really going on. So I think that that moment is going to be very pivotal in season 3, and we'll see how that plays out. Another thing that happens because of the Lady Whistledown scandal, and it's not very clear whether Marina's goal was to self-exit or if Marina's goal was to end her pregnancy, but Marina goes through drastic measures to get herself out of this situation, and it truly affects her mental health. She gets very ill, and I do think Pen cares about her, but I don't think she realized that writing this article was going to be so dangerous for Marina, and that Marina would be willing to take such drastic measures. Of course, once all this comes out, Lady Featherington is trying to distance herself. She calls Marina a lot of names, that she's a schemer, she's a hussy, and tries to make it seem as if her and her family had no idea that Marina was pregnant. Another big storyline here is, of course, Pen and Lady Whistledown, her alternate identity. Lady Whistledown is huge in season 1. People are just aghast. They are aghast that this article keeps coming out. They don't know who Lady Whistledown is. They don't know how she knows everything. How is she getting all this personal information about everyone? And especially the Queen takes this as a competition, if you will, to not just unmask Lady Whistledown, but also it bothers her that Lady Whistledown is getting the gossip before, that Lady Whistledown knows more than her, that Lady Whistledown now at this point has so much power in her opinions and in her words that the Queen feels belongs to her and that she should have. So at this point, Lady Whistledown is really causing a lot of problems for everyone, and the Queen enlists Eloise to help her unmask Lady Whistledown. And through season 1 and even into season 2, there's a lot of times where we see Pen kind of looking to Eloise for validation. She really wants to know what Pen feels about the recent articles. She wants to know what Pen thinks about Lady Whistledown. There's times where things Eloise says make it into the article or affect the article that Pen is writing, because Pen truly wants to impress her friend, obviously without her friend knowing that it's her. And she holds Eloise in such esteem that she really wants to, make her proud in a way. And also, as we close out season 1, unfortunately for the Featheringtons, this isn't their only drama. Lord Featherington's hedonistic lifestyle has caught up with him, and he is ultimately unalived by some of the men who, there's an episode where there's a boxing match, he really needs money, he's desperate for it, and he bribes to have him throw the match. And when Will throws the match, Lord Featherington, obviously being the only one who knew that Will was going to throw the match, makes oodles and oodles of cash, and he's flaunting it. So not only are these other men unhappy at the loss of their money, he's flaunting it, and they take these drastic measures to unalive him. And we end season 1 here with Lady Featherington and her daughters coming home to find Lord Featherington and the police. Season 2 doesn't really touch on what happened to Lord Featherington. It's a dropped plot. I'm not sure why they did that. I don't know if they just didn't have room. I don't know if they just didn't think it was important. but nobody really looks into it. Nobody investigates. Nobody really ever brings him up again. So unfortunately for Lord Featherington, he's just gone. So getting into season 2, there's 2 main plot arcs for Penelope. And in season 2, obviously, we know that the Sharmas are the new characters, and their relationship with the Bridgertons, mainly Anthony, who it's now his turn to get married. And so now this season is mainly dedicated to his love story, whereas, of course, season 1 was dedicated to Daphne and the Duke. So Pen is again a tertiary character, but she has 2 major plot points in season 2. In season 2, Eloise is even more insistent upon figuring out who Lady Whistledown is. Now, at one point in her kind of dedication to hunting down Lady Whistledown, she meets this boy named Theo, and he is an assistant to the printer that Lady Whistledown uses. And she falls for him. And through her relationship with him, she learns of the suffragette movement, feminist movement, revolutionaries, people who are considered the lower class of society. They hang out in these seedier parts of society, and they are your worker bees, your printers, your blacksmiths, your laundry people, your factory workers, etc. And she starts to go and read a lot of their pamphlets and attend a lot of their meetings. And of course, part of it is because she is interested in Theo, and he kind of opens up this world for her. But I also think this would have happened with Eloise anyway. We know just from season 1 how important it is for her to kind of have more options, to not just be trapped in the marriage market. But unfortunately for Eloise, season 2 is also when she is brought out into society, and now her mother is setting her up with other men, and she is being shown and having to dance and get to know people. She avoids as dexterously as possible, but that is kind of what's happening for her in season 2. Her and Pen are now out at the same time, and I think that at first Pen is kind of excited. She's like, finally, we're out together. We can kind of experience this together. Whereas, of course, Eloise is like, oh, you can help me avoid all of this. You can help me hide. In season 2, we also have a new male Featherington lead, and that is Cousin Jack. Cousin Jack comes to replace Lord Featherington. He's not in the first couple episodes, and that leads to a lot of strife for Lady Featherington. They have had to lay off their staff. They don't have any money. They're worried about what they're going to do. She's debating if they should start selling their finer goods like their silver. And she's worried because Philippa's engaged to Finch, but they don't have the money for her dowry. So the wedding is not going through yet. What is going to happen? Is the new Lord Featherington going to take care of them? Is the new Lord Featherington going to screw them worse than they already are? Lots of concerns here. So when Cousin Jack arrives, of course, there's a lot of hubbub. He's come from the Americas. He's invested in all these mines. He's brought along with him rubies. And this leads us to Pen's second main drama of the season, her mother and Jack. At first, there's a lot of bickering between them, and they're really not communicating, and they're not on the same page. Again, Lady F is worried about money, and Jack is kind of courting Cressida. We later come to find out that Jack was courting Cressida because of her wealth, because Jack is not who she seems to be. Now, Lady Featherington has come up with a little plot and scheme to keep the money in the family, and she has Prudence and Jack get found in a compromising situation out in the garden, no chaperone for Prudence, and how all these people have witnessed it. And so, of course, Lady Featherington is like, well, now you have to marry Prudence. You can't ruin her reputation. So once the dust settles and Jack finally admits to her that the reason he was trying to marry Cressida wasn't so he could kick them all out, but because they're broke like a joke. The mines are fruitless. They're useless. There's nothing good in them. No rubies. And he needs the Cressida name and family to keep them housed and in good financial standing. Unfortunately, now that him and Prudence are engaged, there's no way to just easily break off the engagement without ruining Prudence's reputation. So Lady Featherington is hearing none of it. She wants to find an alternate plan for them to be able to keep their name, keep their money, and survive. And her plan is to get people to invest in Jack's mines. And Jack is gung-ho. He's like, all right, I'm listening. Let's do this. And they start working together. They start to convince the Ton to invest in their mines and start to show off these like fake jewelries and fake necklaces and gifting them to people and having them wear it. to get all of the different families to invest. Lady Featherington, at the time, warns him not to involve the Bridgertons. They're in too good standing, and she doesn't want to risk anything bad happening if the Bridgertons are involved. Unfortunately, because Colin in season 2, after getting his heart broken by Marina, has decided that he wants to make a name for himself. He's back from his travels to Greece and then other countries, and he has decided that it is time for him to also invest money. So Jack accepts it. Now, there is a scene where Will warns him, but we'll get to that a little later. So Colin has decided to invest, and Pen is stressed again. Her bestie is hanging out with the seedy parts of society. Her love interest is investing in this fake family scheme of hers. What is she going to do? Well, unfortunately for Pen and Eloise, the Queen has accused Eloise of being Lady Whistledown, and because the Queen has accused Eloise of being Lady Whistledown, she's given her 3 days to make a decision. Come clean, admit that you're Lady Whistledown, write a retraction, admit that the Queen is amazing and perfect and so beautiful and everything that she desires, and go in cahoots with the Queen, or dun dun dun, tragedy is going to befall Eloise. Eloise goes to Pen, confides in her about all of this, and Pen is resolute. She is not letting anyone know who she is. Now, at this time, because of all these things, it's gotten harder for Pen to get her article released, and she does form a bond with Madame Delacroix. Madame Delacroix is the seamstress who is the only person at this point in time who knows Pen's secret identity. But she is still refusing to tell Eloise. I do think that the garden scene between Pen and Eloise is actually really beautiful, and I think that it shows a lot of vulnerability from the girls. Eloise admits to Pen that she feels trapped, that she feels that she can't get out of Daphne's shadow, and that she's just so scared that her future just lies in a marriage and babies and all these things that she doesn't want, when all she really wants is to be someone and study and get the opportunities that her brothers have. During this scene, Pen admits to her that even though she's already been out in society, that she's mainly invisible. People don't see her for who she is, and that there's positives to that. She's able to have more fun. She's able to listen in on what everyone's talking about and doing. That's how she always knows all the good gossip. But she's worried, she's insecure about her looks. She's insecure that she'll never find love. I think Pen is trying to admit that she's lonely without admitting it, right? But unfortunately, she's still not comfortable, even with this information from the Queen, from Eloise about the Queen, with telling Eloise who she truly is, who her secret identity is. And this leads to Pen making the drastic decision to write an article about Eloise. Pen, throughout the season 2, has tried to get Eloise away from Thea, trying to get her to understand that this isn't good for her, that it's dangerous, that it's going to ruin her reputation, that what is she thinking, what is she doing, he's not meant for her, he's not right for her. And I do think Eloise is listening, but Eloise is in love, and she doesn't understand, and she's willing to risk it. She thinks that nobody knows her secret, except Pen. And now, the taunt. When Lady Whistledown's new article comes out, Pen has written everything about Eloise hanging out with revolutionaries, about Eloise going to places that she shouldn't, about Eloise reading these pamphlets, and just basically destroys Eloise's reputation. After this article comes out, obviously the Bridgerton family is struggling to get their names back in good standing, and struggling with the drama that happens between the Sharmas and Anthony, and the failed marriage with Edwina, his feelings for Kate's accident, etc. The Bridgertons have a lot going on, and getting this letter released about, this article released about Eloise is not helping. During all of this, we don't really find out how Colin knows, but Colin has figured out that the rubies are fake. I don't know if it was like a scene got cut, or the writers just didn't think we would notice, that there was really no explanation. There's a lot of talk about this online. Nobody can figure out how did Colin know, but he figures this out. Through all of this, Colin does not ever once accuse or question Pen. He's under the assumption and impression that Pen has no idea what's going on, and that Pen is innocent in all of this, and that this all is because of Jack and his immorality, right? So when he confronts Jack in front of Lady Featherington and with Pen alongside. He breaks the rubies in front of Jack. It's all very dramatic. And he gives Jack 2 options. You confess, you return everyone their money, or I'm to go, and everyone's going to know anyway. So unfortunately for Jack, once Colin and Penelope leave, he talks to Lady Featherington. At some point, the writers want us to believe that Jack and Lady Featherington have fallen for each other. We know better. This is not true. I don't know if they had other ideas in mind for this story. It all feels kind of silly for me. This isn't about them, so I'm not gonna wax poetic too much about it, but this was not a good plot line, and I don't think it was necessary. But because Jack thinks that Lady Featherington has fallen for him, he tells her, let's run away to the Americas, take the money, pack our bags, let's go. They can't get us, we can leave tonight. Lady Featherington asks him, well, what about my daughters? Philippa just got married to Finch, Prudence still isn't wed, and Penelope is still not wed. So my daughters still need me, of course. And Jack's like, pish posh applesauce, forget the kids, let's go. I don't know why he thought that she would say yes to this. I don't know what was going on. Again, I think that the writers really messed up here. They have solidified, if anything, that Lady Featherington is do or die for her children. Whether it's out of love or obligation is irrelevant. She is do or die, and she's going to do whatever it takes for her children. So for Jack to believe that she's just going to pop off with him to the Americas and leave her girls behind with no money in the wake of this scandal is ridiculous. And she tells him, I will give you enough money to leave, but you are leaving. We're going to make it seem that you left with all the money and that we've been left, once again, penniless in this scandal, but I am not leaving my children. And Jack leaves. We end the season. We don't truly know what happens with the ton and what they find out. I don't know how they're going to handle it in season 3. The way that they handled Lord Featherington's death makes me think that they might kind of also handle this similarly, but we don't know. But that's how Jack's out of the picture. Prudence, of course, is once again single, and Lady Featherington has temporarily resolved their money issues with what's left of the stolen money after Jack is allowed to leave. A side note here is Colin spends a lot of season 2 talking about Marina, asking about Marina. I'm sorry, Theo is snoring, and it's so funny and it's so cute. I don't know if the mic is picking it up, but if it is, that's my little dude snoring in the back. So as I was saying, Colin spends a lot of time in season 2 talking about Marina, asking about Marina, wondering about Marina, reminiscing about Marina, and eventually visiting Marina. This affects his relationship with Penelope as he has sworn off women. He's just not interested in dating, but he's clearly still hung up about Marina. This also shows, again, that Colin really truly did want to marry Marina, and I do think that had he known about her pregnancy and had it not been revealed the way that it was, he would have married Marina. Obviously, season 3's end goal is Colin and Pen, so him marrying Marina would have truly just taken everything very far from the books, but it does show that at least that he does have genuine feelings for Marina. Marina does break his heart at this point, and as she's already married and she's not looking for a stepdaddy, she's not looking for a divorce, she's looking to just keep the flow, keep her twins fed well and happy. She tells Colin no, and she tells Colin that he needs to look at the people around him, and she pretty much tells him about Pen. So I don't know if it's that he's just so delulu about Marina or so just not over the breakup that he's just not really hearing her at this point. He does bring it up to Pen later, but he's not there. Pen is still his little sister's friend and his friend, and though they got close while he was traveling with all their writings, he just doesn't view her as a romantic partner yet, right? Not in season 1 and not in season 2. I do feel like Colin and Pauline and Pen obviously deserve their own video. We can kind of get into that later. This really just is about Penelope right now. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my take here. With that being said, after all this happens, Eloise finds Pen's stash of money, and she's in Pen's room, and the girls have a huge confrontation. And so I really want to kind of go over this scene and the importance of this scene, because it leaves the girls in a really difficult situation at the end of season 3. So Eloise is in Penelope's room, and she's found Penelope's secret stash of money, and she accuses Penelope of being Lady Whistledown. Now, Penelope is continuing to gaslight her. No, it's not me. How can you think that? You're crazy. And you're just too obsessed with Lady Whistledown, and I don't want to hear it anymore. Eloise is over it. She starts accusing Pen that there's all these things that were published that only Lady Whistledown could have possibly known, and she's not taking no for an answer. she knows it's Pen and Pen needs to come clean. Pen starts crying. She is apologizing. She is sobbing. She knows that she's messed up, but she was trying to protect Eloise, that she's always trusted her, and that she just wanted to save Eloise from herself and from the queen. Eloise accuses her of only being interested in saving herself and making a profit for herself regardless of what happens to everyone else, and all the manipulations that she has committed against Colin, against Marina, against Theo, and against the Todd. Pen says that she did all of this, that she gave it all up, that she's never writing again, and she's never writing again because of Eloise. Eloise tells her that she doesn't even know who she is, and that she's just too scared to stand up for herself in real life, and that she's too scared to be who she is, and that's why she even started this whole gossip rag in the first place. Pen, now angry, tells her that at least she's done something for herself, unlike Eloise, who all she does is complain and whine. And that Eloise is just jealous because, unlike Pen, she's able to not just make this money, but make a name for herself. And what does Eloise have to show for it? So Eloise then ends the conversation by telling Pen that she never wishes to see her again, and she leaves. At this point, Pen runs out. I'm not sure if maybe she's trying to fix things or what it is, but she runs out and she runs into Colin, who is with the boys. And the boys, having seen Colin pull Pen into the room, not knowing that it was about the confrontation with Cousin Jack, all they saw was him grabbing her hand and pulling her aside, want to know if he's trying to court her, to which he replies that he would never court Penelope Featherington. I don't know, obviously, how Colin meant this. I don't think he meant it in a bad way. Even to Pen's face, he's been very honest about how he feels about her, how he views her. He's always held her in high esteem. I truly believe that he, at this point, just sees her as like a little sister extension, as a friend. And so I don't think he meant it in a bad way. I don't think it was a kind thing to say, and I do think that I understand Pen feeling how she feels, but obviously she runs off crying. Who would want to hear their love interest say something like that? Nobody, right? Now that we kind of know what Pen goes through in season 1 and season 2, kind of back at our question that started this whole topic of conversation to begin with. Is Penelope Featherington an anti-hero? And I, in my humble opinion, say yes. What are Pen's crimes? Outing Marina's pregnancy publicly, not stopping her family's faux jewelry scandal crime scene, and whatever. Not stopping Prudence and Jack's faux marriage when she knew that it was a faux marriage. Outing Eloise's dalliances with the feminist movement and Theo, and gossiping about everyone and their mother. Nobody was safe from Lady Whistledown. Not a single person. Pen has more than once thrown the bathwater out with the baby. Like, she's YOLOing around town, okay? Now, much to Pen's chagrin, because I do not think that she would like me saying this. Again, I think she's so much like her mother, and I don't think that she sees it. I don't think that she's noticed the fact that a lot of her mother's negative traits, she's kind of adopted. She's, again, like I said, she's selfish, she's manipulative, she thinks she knows better than everyone, she thinks she's smarter than everyone. She's not able to open up or communicate, not to Colin, not to Eloise. She's not able to be vulnerable and honest. Not even with people who welcomed her into their lives, welcomed her into their home, and not people who truly love her and see her as an equal. Is she able to open up to her? And I understand, like, she's got the bullying from her family, she has her own insecurities, and again, when the show starts, she's only 16, and I think by the end of season 2, she might be 18 maybe, I'm not sure. Obviously, she's probably 17 when the season starts. She's still just a kid, but she's done all of this, caused all of this scandal because of her inability to communicate and say, Colin, Marina's pregnant. Eloise, I'm Lady Whistledown. And we know that Eloise and Colin especially hold Penelope in such high esteem and hold honesty in such high esteem. I think that, unfortunately, Pen is kind of getting in her own way. I think that there's other ways that she could have handled all of these situations. I know that she did try to tell Colin, but she could have written him a letter. She could have had one of the maids take it to them. She knows that the servants talk between the families. She could have had Eloise give it to him. She could have told Eloise about the pregnancy. I think that there's things that she could have done that didn't have to not just ruin her family's reputation, but ruin her reputation and ruin her relationship with the people that she cares about most. I think that she kind of sets herself up to fail by thinking that she knows what's best for everyone and thinking that she knows what the right answer and right moves are. without actually talking to the people who are involved. And don't get me wrong, I know that people gossip, and I know that, you're going to call your friend, or you're going to call your partner, or you're going to call your mom and be like, oh my God, did you hear what Eloise is up to? But there is a difference between gossiping about someone and writing an entire just gossip rag. I just think that it's really scummy of Pen to not do anything about the scam. Like, let's be realistic. She knew anything and everything that was going on. Do we really think she was innocent to the scam of the rubies? She could have done something. She could have told someone. She could have, again, opened up to Colin, opened up to Eloise. I think that her insecurities really have her kind of delulu about not just the fact that she thinks that she's smarter than everyone, that these people truly do love her and truly do care about her. She's really kind of become her own worst enemy. I love a good friends to lovers plot, and I love a good enemies to lover plot. I don't necessarily feel that season 1 or season 2 have really built that up for us. I don't think that where we've left off with Colin and where we've left off with Eloise and all of the different scandals, that Pen is in a position to even marry Colin right now. I'm not sure how season 3 is going to handle it, so I am very excited to see what their plans are to kind of bring the two back together. But I do think that it's going to be very, very bad when Colin finds out that Pen is Lady Whistledown. Not just because of the Marina thing, but because of his loyalty to his family and the Eloise situation. And even all of the gossip between the Sharmas and the Bridgertons that was posted during Anthony's betrothal, during Daphne and the Duke's betrothal, because they were all, again, mentioned in, Lady Whistledown drag. So I do hope and expect there to be room for redemption for Pen. As I've said, she's very young. Some people make mistakes. I don't even judge her for hiding the money from her family. I do think it's interesting. I'm kind of curious what she plans on doing with the money. Obviously, her family was laying off servants and having trouble making ends meet, but she didn't ever tell them about the money, which I think was a wise choice. But I'm curious, what are her end goals? Where is she trying to go with this? What is she trying to do with this, right? Is her intention just to pay her own dowry? I don't know. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. I would love to know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with liking the anti-hero or rooting for the anti-hero. I just personally don't find Penelope very likable right now, and I don't think she's a very good person right now. And I do hope that in season 3, she gets the opportunity to grow and flourish and become a better person and a lot less like her mom. I think it's funny because as much as Prudence is rude to her and bullies her and doesn't like her, I think that Penelope's everything Prudence wishes she could be. There's not a lot of Philippa in this season 2 anyway, so other than her marriage to Finch, again, Philippa's just kind of silly. But I do think Pen is the smarter sister. I do think that obviously she has made a name for herself, albeit an pen name. But let me know what you guys think. Is she more likable in the books? Will I have a different opinion based on the books, based on the different plots? Should I have joined the Her Universe book club? I don't know. Let me know about what you guys think. I really want to know. Are you rooting for her, or do you want to see her downfall? Hopefully, once season 3 comes out, we'll have more information. Maybe I'll do a part 2, and I'll get to dive into Colin and Pen's relationship, or in the part 2 video after season 3 comes out. I'm really excited, and I can't wait to hear from you guys. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Please please subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. I also am going to have gaming videos coming out. I do stream on Twitch, so if you want to see me, that's twitch.tv/Karrokick, and I have a little TikTok where I post about some of my background acting gigs and my dogs and a little bit about my lifestyle. Again, I hope to see you guys in the next one. Okay, so see you later. Is Penelope Featherington anti-hero or not? Bye.